What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast, episode number 137, presented by Save the Game Media. I'm your host, Kevin, and today I am joined by a very special guest co-host this week. He is the creator and host of the Keel Hauled podcast and the co-host of the Xbox Expansion Pass, the man with the perfect voice for radio, Captain Logun. My friend, how are you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing good. We it's been an interesting week, and it's only Thursday. We're gonna have a heck of a weekend coming up too. But how are you doing? Thanks for having me on. That was a nice intro.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for coming on. Obviously, Ethan is unavailable, so I rallied the troops, and we've never podcasted before together. So I'm super excited to finally get you on the show. I know
Yeah.
time zones can be a little tricky, but we made it work this week. So it's a good week to be on. We got lots to talk about. We got Diablo. We got Summer Games Fest. We got Atlus leaking their own games. All right. Some really good stuff to talk about. But before we get into that, Logan, I got to remind everyone this is an Xbox podcast. We are live every Thursday right here on YouTube. If you can't catch us, we post on your favorite audio service on Friday mornings. While you're over there, make sure to drop us that 5-star review. It does help us in the algorithm, gets us up those charts. If you want to interact with us more, please come join the Discord. The link is in the description below. And if you want to support us further, get early access to all of Save the Game Media content and bonus exclusive post shows like the one we're going to do next week because Ethan's not here. Head over to patreon.com/save the game media. Choose the tier that's right for you, just like our current Patreon supporters. So thank you to Bucky Blue, Aman, Fabulous Brianna, Brianna's mom, Brianna's brother, Brianna's wife, Nikolai at Night, Cypher, Primus, Brendan Myers, Marcus O'Neill, Lillian, Mimi J, The Snack Network, David Hotright, Dave Harp, and the Xbox Expansion Pass. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate each and every one of you. Logan, I like to get housekeeping out of the way real quick so we can dive right into what have you been playing, my friend, because I really want to talk to you about one game, and I think you know what it is.
Oh man, so I'm really glad to have a chance to kind of talk about this in length again because I mean, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like so good, so many. How many shrines you done? You gone down into the depths? I gotta know.
This is the game I wanted to talk to you about. Yep, this is the one I meant.
What's your favorite food? Is it dubious food? What are you cooking?
So I haven't purchased this game. I'm not going to play Tears of the Kingdom. My brother beat it. He's close to 100%. That's all I know about it. He loved it. But not quite the game I was talking about.
So about that, I guess in that case, we might as well just talk about Diablo 4 then.
That's the one. That's the came out early access last week. It is now out for everyone. Obviously, people put up their reviews, but this is going to act as kind of my impressions to the game. I think Ethan got it yesterday, so he is super early in. I don't know how much he has to say about it, but Logan, I know you've put a few hours into this game, haven't you? What are your overall impressions about Diablo 4 so far?
As a longtime Diablo fan, this is definitely like top-notch Diablo. I've really been enjoying my time. I think I've got close to 55, 60 hours, I think, since early access. I haven't gotten to beat the campaign yet, though. I'm still working on that. But
Okay.
yeah, this is like Diablo 4 is by far it's one of the top-notch ARPGs out there. If you're a fan of ARPGs at all, everything else is like stemmed off of Diablo. And yeah, it's a beautiful game. They've done a fantastic job with it so far. But yeah, lots of time playing my Necro so far.
Yeah, we can dive into what more detail about it. My overall impressions are pretty similar to yours. I absolutely love this game. I was I didn't get to play as much as I wanted, mainly because opening night when you had the Ultimate Edition and you can jump in early, didn't know that you couldn't game share that. That was a common issue among people. So I actually tried for 30 minutes before people realized what the situation was. I went and bought it myself. No, I was like, I'm playing this game tonight. I don't care. I'm dropping the money. And it was money well spent for sure because I played for hours after that. Saturday, I had most of my free time. And then the servers went down for my entirety of my free time on Saturday, so I didn't get to play
Oh,
as much there. I've still managed to put in about 27-ish hours into the game. I have hit level 50. I'm on Act 5 of the campaign. I just love the world that Blizzard has made here for Diablo 4. I'm like much like you, longtime Diablo fan. I played Diablo 1, 2, 3. I've been way back when my grandma introduced me to the series actually, and it was very funny. And it's one of those things where I'm like, that's crazy that she did not play games. This was she was playing Diablo 1 because it allowed her to connect with like a friend who lived in a different state, if I remember correctly.
oh wow,
Yeah, so it was very much like
man.
a social thing for her, like getting on, just hanging out, and that blows my mind because like I would get on, play Diablo, and like really just get engrossed in the gameplay loop, and that has kind of stuck with me for Diablo 2, Diablo 3. I played hundreds and hundreds of hours, and then this one's looking much the same, especially because you can play co-op, and obviously me and my brother, we love playing games together, and this is perfect for that. So how are you liking the story? You haven't beat it yet. I'm on Act 5, so where are you at?
Yeah. The story is fantastic. I think they've done a really good job of because with each of because now that we're in an open world, it used to be a very linear story. You used to follow like one main path as you were kind of keeping up with some of the main characters in the story, and you is kind of like a Nephilim for most of it, but this is the first time that you're not actually a Nephilim. Uh you get the opportunity to visit a few of the different zones in this now open world, and the little stories that they have built up for each of the zones as it kind of like sends you out to side quests and stuff like that have been really exceptional, like just absolutely beautiful. I love some of the minor stories that are with like just a couple people and their story and whatnot, but then you've got kind of like the larger zone wide stories that involve like different tribes or clans and stuff and the troubles that they're going through. um and with the variance of the actual like different biomes for the land, like you've got kind of a snowy region that's up north in the mountains in one area, and you kind of move down into a more kind of traditional like foresty area, and then you get pushed out into like the desert, and then you get pushed into like a swamp, and then you get it's so cool to see how they've been able to kind of combine the atmosphere of the different environments and use that location as a way to tell interesting stories about some of the history with Diablo as well too, just knowing some of the troubles that you've
Mhm.
had like in the dry steeps. There's like areas that you're just like, yeah, it's completely desolate. They need the trade routes to be able to be open. They have to deal with these monsters that are starting to appear, and if you survive like the sandstorms and stuff, then you're pretty crazy to even go out there and whatnot. But it all ties together, and some of the best storytelling I think I've had, just on the smaller sides. But the actual main campaign with Lorath and Dono and Lilith and Inarius and stuff, I really love. And it might be a little spoilery. I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't know if people have really gotten a chance to jump into it, but they've done something with the villain that I really like, who is Lilith.
Mhm.
And they've given Lilith a purpose that feels like you can empathize with the point of view. But much like with villains that have that kind of like, you can understand where they're coming from and you can kind of see like, yeah, what you're saying makes sense. They always go just a little bit too far with their ideology, and that's where Lilith's at. And that's what I love about her as a villain, because so often and not, the goal of like the primevals have always been just destroy the world or take over
Mhm.
it or let loose the gates of hell and let all the demons run rampant. And with this one, it's like it doesn't play that card in the same way. Like it's effectively trying to do that, but there's a story and a history that they're digging into real deep with their claws, and I absolutely love it, man. It's such an interesting story for me, and I think if you weren't into the grind alone for Diablo, just like the normal gameplay hooks, the story itself is definitely worth the price.
Yeah, I saw when the reviews came out, some people saying the story wasn't very good, and I have not had that experience at all so far. I've really enjoyed the story. I think the cutscenes are absolutely gorgeous. I'm playing on
Mm,
Series X, and I think some of the stuff that they're showing, I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. I wish everything looked as good as it's doing here, but in regard to Lilith, I would agree with you from what I've seen. Because in the game, she's getting followers, and it's like, okay, well, why would anyone choose to follow a demon? She comes across very charismatic, and like you can kind of see they've made her this character where, okay, I get it. I understand why these people are like, all hail Lilith, and like we're gonna, even though we're humans, we're gonna side with the demons. It's a very interesting story that they're telling so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm in obviously Act 5, so I think there's 6 acts if I remember correctly. So
yeah.
yeah, I think Act 5 is the longest, so I'm almost there. But some of the side quests is probably what I've been doing most of the time. When I get on, me and my brother and our friend and whatever groups we're forming, it's like, well, you have to be at the same part in the story to progress together, which is like, okay, and one person can progress, not a big deal. But if you all want to do it together, you do have to be on the same thing. The side quests, though, like you can all get the same side quests. You can have different side quests. You can go to the same areas and just like do your own side quests up there. It's a lot of fun just like running around together, helping each other check off the side quests that they have. And especially when some of these are really good, like storytelling. I think the voice acting, even for these minor side quest characters, is really stellar. Blizzard has done a great job there. I just one story, and I don't know if you've done this side quest, but the bar keep where he has you go hunt down his former like bandit group, and like you don't learn that he's the former leader until like you're into the side quest and he shows up. Is I really like that storyline. It was a very good side quest. It had some actual like, oh wow, I had no idea. I thought he was just some random dude in a bar wanting me to take care of bandits. Turns out he has like this whole backstory that you become familiar with, and like that is the world building that Diablo 4 is really doing with like a lot of characters, a lot of the areas you go to. In my experience so far, and it's
Yeah.
really just it's engrossing me. Which, if we want to bring in, we have one listener question this week, and I will probably bring it in right now because I think this is probably the most appropriate venue for it. But it comes from it's Kyle, and he says, Kevin, you are on the record as being very anti-open world games, yet you love Diablo, which is quite a big open world game. What's the difference with Diablo compared to say Tears of the Kingdom? Um, this is hard for me to answer because I typically don't like open world games. That is very much my MO. One of the reasons I'm excited for Starfield, as an example, but one of my concerns is that I won't like how big and open it is. I won't like the open world because I think what has put me off from open worlds is the checkbox design that Ubisoft implemented for the last 10 years. And then I
Mhm.
also don't seem to vibe with well, we're not going to give you any direction of like Elden Ring and Zelda, where Zelda has gone. Because I like older Zelda games, but these new ones where it's like you have a freedom of a sandbox. If you don't tell me what to do, I'm not going to do anything. Like I won't know what to do. I won't know where to go. So it's really finding that fine line where it's like you have the freedom, but it's not just I'm going here checking off a box like I feel a lot of Ubisoft games do these days. And I don't know if that makes sense. It's more of a feel thing for me. Gonna be honest, guy. More of a feel thing.
If I could, maybe take a stab at what it is about Diablo versus say like a Tears of the Kingdom, I kind of want to point to the gameplay loop. The gameplay loop is solid and it is traditional Diablo. You're not doing anything different really with your character that you wouldn't be familiar with if you had played any of the past games. Like it's all very similar.
Hmm.
The difference I think is that instead of moving linearly through like one area and just trying to find like those waypoints to get like further down into a world or across the map. You're effectively doing that, but you're not beholden to the same thing. Like you're not beholden to like just one tiny zone and stuff. So I feel like because the gameplay loop is so good that it doesn't bother you that it is an open world, because it still feels, especially with a map, it doesn't open up until you actually move into a
Mm-hmm.
new territory. So and I think this is a something that everyone is kind of guilty of, is you tend to get pretty high in your levels and you haven't really even left the first zone,
Yeah,
because
I
it
was in my
feels
40s before I did Act One.
and they do a good job of it, because they give you like dungeons and little cellars and stuff that you can kind of live in and repeat and do all those things. So every time you log in, you're like, oh yeah, I got all these dungeons I have to go do. And you feel like that is kind of a complete thing all in itself. And it is until you realize like, oh my gosh, I'm about to hit 50. I should probably actually go do something else. And they give you the first three acts too, so it's like, okay, you kind of know what you're going to be doing. You work on act 1, 2, and 3, and that's when it's like, all right, well, now we're going to kind of funnel you into focus in on just 4 until you get to 5, and then 5 narrows even more and pushes you into 6, and then 6 narrows you even further in and gives you less opportunity to really kind of go out and do whatever it is you want. You can still do it, but it doesn't like kind of push you down into a corridor the
Mm-hmm.
way like it does kind of push you down into a corridor the further along you get.
Yeah, the gameplay loop is certainly a big part of it because it's so rewarding. It's so addictive as well. I think that's a part of it where it's not just the cycle of getting gear and like, oh, what can I do now? It's how do I build my character? Like, where do I put my skill points? And we were talking about this yesterday in the Xbox party that we were in, where
Mhm.
it's like that meme you sent me. It was like, what if my build's not good enough? You know, it's like these are thoughts that I have when I'm out at work and I'm like, well, how can I make my barbarian better? You know, like
Yeah.
how can I tweak it? What gear should I be looking for in the future? And it is there's so much more to it than just like, oh, I have a list of activities. I'm gonna go do them and then move on. And
Mhm.
or just I get to build anything I want. Like that doesn't really entice me as much as something like Diablo does. And like I said, there are open world games I'm looking forward to for the remainder of the year. One being Starfield, and then the other being Atlas Fallen, which comes out in August.
Mm.
That's one that's co-op as well. So I think the addition of co-op really appeals to me and makes me feel like less overwhelmed maybe or more intrigued to explore if I have a friend to go along with me. So if that's if, I mean I'm just spitballing. I don't know really about my open
Yeah.
world disdain, except that I don't really like Ubisoft games. And I tried Immortals Phoenix Rising, and I wish it was a linear game. Like that was my big
Mm.
takeaway after playing 20 something hours of it. I beat it, but I was like, this would have been so much better if it was just the story and not all the additional side stuff. So,
I I think if you had an opportunity, you might want to look at some of those Far Cry games with co-op, because it's I see where you're coming from as far as like, oh, there's a settlement, I have to go clear out the camp of bandits, and it
mhm.
doesn't, there's not really any justification for that other than that's just an objective to do. At least I feel like with Diablo 4, it feels like there are settlements that you visit, and everyone there is dealing with the worst living experience ever. Like you, I think we were talking yesterday, like no one wants to live as just a normal person in the Diablo world, because everyone is being attacked by something or dying to something, or there's just, it's there's nothing to eat. Kids are like, oh, I need you to go kill monsters so that I can have something to sell, so that I can have a crusty piece of bread because I'm starving. And it's like, man, the world is brutal, but at least you're a powerful character in the game.
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah, no. I'm just loving Diablo. I think is do you think question Logan, do you think Diablo has a shot at being game of the year?
Most definitely. Yeah,
Oh,
no.
okay.
There's no doubt in my mind that this is like server issues aside, I think, which is a, you know, it's a battle no matter what you're doing. This is probably one of the most popular games this year. I 100% think that Diablo 4 has a strong chance of being game of the year material, because it is, the storytelling's there, the graphics are there, the gameplay is there,
Mhm.
the execution is flawless. Like I mean, anecdotally, the Xbox version, the console versions of this game
Beautiful,
feel
amazing.
amazing. They feel so good. Like, and using a controller surprisingly smooth.
Mhm.
Like, did it feels real natural. Like, I tried to use a mouse and keyboard the other day, and I was like, it feels awkward. It feels strange to
It's
try and use
funny
mouse and keyboard.
It's funny you say that because my one friend, he played the beta on Xbox, and then he bought the PC version because he was
Yeah,
like, "Diablo's a PC game." We started playing. He goes, "I liked it better on Xbox,"
yeah,
and I'm like, "Well, you could plug a controller into your PC, but it is one of those things where I've only ever played on PC, and this is my first on console, and I'm like, this is really good. Like
it
this,
feels good.
I'm glad that they brought it over to Xbox and that I gave it a shot. Like I could have gone to PC and just stuck there, but I think I don't really have any negatives to say about this game. Like
Mm-mm.
apart from the occasional server issues, which like it's an online game, like it's Blizzard, we know this is going to happen. We all expected this. I don't have any complaints about like the actual game.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I'm surprised that they've managed to make it one, still a very accessible game. Like, there's a surface level that you can understand with what to do in the
Mhm.
game. There's on top of that a breadth of depth that you can really, like, there's a huge scope of what you can play around with just with the different characters, but each individual character has so many different layers in there that it's been really amazing to be able to like dig into the details of it as well.
Mhm. Ghostly March in the chat said, "I will say I have had 2 game freezes on Series X so far and some
Mm,
artifacting." I'm not sure if the freezing is like server related or what. I haven't encountered any of that. I'm sure there's a occasional bug here or there, but like I said, in terms of gameplay, story, the visuals, everything is really really good, and I would highly recommend Diablo 4. I'm interested that you said this has a chance at Game of the Year. It it's in my Game of the Year conversation for sure right now. In terms of like the game awards game of the year or like the overall critics, I still think Zelda probably has it just because if we look at reviews, like this didn't
mm,
review as well. But I will say this is a zeitgeist moment, much like Zelda was. Like if we
yeah,
look back a month ago, everyone was talking about Zelda, everyone was blowing up about Zelda. If you look at right now on social media, everyone's talking about Diablo 4. Everyone's showing their builds. Like this is another big moment in gaming right now, and that is special. That means this game is something important and gonna be around in those conversations.
yeah. It's refined. It's a return to form as far as the artistic drive of Diablo, three was maligned for its more kind of gamey look to it.
Hmm.
It seemed a little more soft around the edges. And Diablo 4, there are just moments in this game where I'm like, this is the most mature rated game I think I've ever seen, man. There's so much just gore and viscera everywhere that I'm like, man, they did not lean like anywhere in the middle as far as like whether they were going to go soft or hard when it came to things. They were just like, nope, this is a hard M, and I appreciate the commitment to it, because it really does set the tone right off the bat as far as
Hmm.
this is the type of Diablo game we want to make. And I don't know about you, man, but everyone seems to be taking it super seriously.
Yeah.
I think the one joke that I've seen kind of go around about this game is everyone has like a title, and as you progress through the game, like you get different like little names or little like
Hmm.
prefixes and suffixes that you can make for your title. Everyone is found to become some form of trash, because
Yeah.
one of
Yep.
the suffixes is trash. So you're either legendary trash, or you're gilded trash, or you're common trash, or you're, everyone little trash. Everyone's got their own little version of trash. as their title, and I think it's hilarious
Yeah,
that's become like the thing.
there's the meme of Danny DeVito in from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's like how I feel once everyone gets the titles, and it's him busting into the wrestling ring, going, "I'm the trash man." Love it. I'm like,
That's
yeah,
great.
this is true. This is I haven't even put a title on yet, but well, I'm glad you're enjoying Diablo 4, but we got some other stuff to talk about. So let's transition into the news. And this week, guys, we're going to recap Summer Games Fest. It happened a mere 4.5 hours ago at the time of this recording, but we got a lot to talk about, Logan. So let's dive into it. We'll go game by game, but if you're not really all that interested in talking about the game, let me know and
All
we'll
right.
breeze by it.
Can
So,
can can we
yes,
jump into the one that wasn't talked about?
the one that wasn't talked about.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that?
Cyberpunk. Where
Oh
the heck was Phantom
yeah.
Liberty?
You think it's an Xbox showcase one?
I think it's later this week, but I don't know about you, man. I was expecting Cyberpunk to make a showing for this, and it was kind of upsetting. I was like, bro, yeah, you got Nick Cage on stage, but you couldn't show Phantom Liberty?
Yeah, it's I saw the price for the DLC got put
Oh,
up on
really?
the yes, I believe it's
Ah.
$35 will be the DLC cost. Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure that got leaked this morning. So I did expect that at Summer Games Fest as well. I just totally slipped my mind.
Yeah.
Wow. That is that's crazy. So
Yeah. Makes me wonder
um
what something was going on there.
let's see. Game Positive in the chat says there was a legit leak from a publisher that happened for the Xbox showcase, right? Yes, we have that in the show notes, Eric. We will be talking about it after the Summer Games Fest recap. So don't worry. And hello, Luke, friend of the show, Xbox Expansion Pass, Logan's co-host over there. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. Happy to see you. But yeah, I don't know about Cyberpunk, man. That is a mystery where that game is. It's either the Xbox showcase or they're just going to announce it themselves, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Very strange, especially after they confirmed it was going to be at the Summer Games Fest. So could be Saturday, could be at the showcase. I was kind of bummed because honestly, like I've been very looking forward to the Phantom Liberty DLC.
When's the PC gaming showcase?
Oh, that's a good question.
It
Because
might be
I
it might be there. We know how much they love PC.
That's true. Much to the chagrin of PS4s and Xbox Ones.
Yes. But we can jump into the actual Summer Game Fest recap.
Yes.
And it started off with what I think is quite a good opener, and that was Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. We got a gameplay trailer. It is a return to the 2D action platformer style of the old school Prince of Persia games. This will release January 18th, 2024. Logan, what are you feeling about Prince of Persia? I thought this looked really good. I'm interested in it. It's obviously a new art style, new look for Prince of Persia, but a return to form could be just what the series needs while we wait for the remake of Sands of Time.
Honestly, they can keep that remake if they want. This looked fantastic. It was smooth. It looked like it played well. It looked like frenetic. It looked like it was going to have some really good combat in there. Like if they want to take Prince of Persia, and I think that was a little bit of a theme this showcase with a couple other games too. But if they want to go this route, if they want to take it back to 2D with some 3D graphics and just kind of spruce it up, make a Metroid Dread of it, I'll 100% be down for that. Because yeah, this surprised me. It looked,
Hmm.
and I was waiting for them to say the name because I'm sitting here typing in my notes and I'm like, okay, it's stylized, it's 2D. They're talking about Immortals, but it looks like a Prince of Persia. So like, what is this? And then they revealed the name, and I was like, oh, they're actually doing it. That's good. It's a Prince of Persia. I think a lot of people will be looking forward to.
I'm surprised that this was a game in development while the Sands of Time remake was also being developed. Like it seems to me, and I think this was probably the plan that they wanted to have Sands of Time come out first because we
Mhm.
know that they were just going to throw out a poor remaster of that game and call it a remake, but then fans complained and now it's kind of been shelved and it's being completely reworked. So in my mind, I think that was meant to come out first, get the hype back, and now introduce this new Prince of Persia game.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Because yeah, it didn't feel right what they were doing with the remake, and honestly, it seems like they had a glorious idea of what they wanted from that, and that was going to kind of tee up the nostalgia for the franchise, and then kind of introduce this one later on. Definitely makes sense to me.
Luke says Prince of Persia didn't do it for me. The art styles looked the same, didn't they? I think this one looked closer to the last Prince of Persia game we got and not the trilogy of the original Prince, if you know what I'm talking about. There was that
Mhm.
weird spin-off Prince of Persia game where you couldn't die and the person always saved you. I think this looks a little closer to that Prince of Persia. But if we want to keep rolling, Mortal
Yeah,
Kombat 1 gameplay reveal. And then Ed Boon came out to discuss it at length, talked about the cameo fighters and how that system will work. This game is gorgeous. I'm not the biggest Mortal Kombat guy. I think the lore and the story is pretty cool, but it's never really at the top of my I gotta play this fighting game.
yeah, a lot of reverence for Mortal Kombat in general from me. It was the game I played when when I was a kid in the '90s and stuff, and always having to go over to my buddy's house because he had the Genesis version, and it was really cool that they found a reason to reboot the series, and the reverence that they're showing for the cameos, like seeing Jax, seeing Sonya and Kano, and some of the traditional costumes that they had from the first game kind of come in for those cameos was really really awesome. I think they have got a really good idea going into this Mortal Kombat. The fatalities still look amazing. I think they still do the best fatalities or finishers like in any fighting game out there. And I'm really curious to see like where this story goes, because with a fresh start they have an opportunity to kind of play characters in a different light, and you don't always get that opportunity because you usually have to stay true to the who the characters are. But when it's a whole new realm and it's a whole new universe, but it's the same familiar faces, it'd be very interesting to see like how that story plays out.
hmm I'm really interested to see how this game does reception wise because it is a brand new timeline. They're changing things up. The Mortal Kombat we know is kind of getting changed up, and I think the cameo fighters adds a new element to the combat that could be really cool because we've seen this in other games before, and it's always worked well.
Mhm.
Um, I I'm okay with this. I think this was a good showing from Mortal Kombat. Eric, Game Positive in the chat, says, I'm a big Mortal Kombat fan. The worst part of Mortal Kombat 1, in my opinion, is that it's coming out in the same year as Street Fighter 6. This is the year of fighting games, Eric, because I know it not confirmed, but there is a chance Tekken comes out this year as well. All right. Just imagine that we get Tekken also. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
But if you're into Mortal Kombat, go look at this reveal. Listen to Ed Boon. It was awesome. Next, we got a Path of Exile 2 trailer. This didn't do nothing for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Are you a Path of Exile guy?
No, but it looked good. I mean, I was looking at the graphics for like the lightning in the actual trailer, and I mean, the game looks really pretty. I think they've done a good job. Not a strong showing, I think, for like a summer's game fest. Like, it definitely felt like this was like a, hey, here's what we can provide for you, but they didn't really dive into much or offer a whole lot of time to it. And because there was so little context for what we were watching, it kind of fell flat in that sense. But I mean, if you're a Diablo fan, Path of the Exiles is right there next to it as far as like quality goes.
Mm. I think my reaction was this looks like Diablo, and I have Diablo, so maybe I only got really
Yeah.
one ARPG in my life, so but if you're excited, looks good. So next we got Street Fighter 6, and this was an interesting trailer, Logan,
Yeah.
because I had no idea I was like, why is Ryu a robot? And then they also
Yeah.
showed Robot Guile. It turns out Street Fighter 6 Cross Exo Primal collab is coming in the fall. It showed Ryu fighting a dinosaur. Not the crossover we all wanted, but maybe the crossover we all needed, you know?
Exoprimal, that's a weird one, man. It's going to be fun to see that one come out. I think it's July 14th, day one Game Pass. And with them doing Street Fighter 6 and knowing that they're going to be supporting that as like a live service game, and them doing that with Exoprimal as well too. It's fun that they're able to have like two IPs and be able to be like, well, if like this is a good marketing hook to be like, hey, if you were on the fence about Exoprimal, like you didn't know like what was going to happen with it, but you're a big Street Fighter fan, then you're at least going to get like Robo Guile and Robo Ryu like in Exoprimal. So at least you'll have some characters that you're happy with. I think I would have loved to have seen like a Zangief robot, or even if they had like some different skins that made your Exoprimal suits look like some of the Street Fighter characters. I think that could have been cool as well too. But I don't know. They're weird. It's being weird,
Super
and I'm
weird.
totally fine with it. Like if that's
It
what you
was
want to do it.
Yeah, I at first it went from confusing to funny in like a oh I love this. This is so dumb, but I love it kind of way. So
Yep.
I've seen nothing but good things about Street Fighter 6 too. I watched Ryan Turford over at Carpool Gaming. He was streaming it. I watched him play it for a little bit last Friday while Diablo was down, and the game looked really good. It looked really good. And I know
Yeah.
Luke, I think, has been playing it too. So
Yeah.
uh, shout out Locklith in the chat. She says, but Fae Farm. We're going to get to Fae Farm, Locklith. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Next up, though, we got a celebrity appearance. Nicolas Cage is in Dead by Daylight. We got a trailer, and then he came out to talk about the game. He is a survivor in the game.
Yeah.
I thought he was funny. He cracked some jokes. He wasn't nearly as cringy as like most celebrity appearances, in my opinion. But I don't really have any interest in playing Nicolas Cage in Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, I'm not a Dead by Daylight person. That kind of game gives me too much anxiety to want to do that. And I'm honestly like, I'm not a huge Nick Cage fan. I know he's loved and whatnot, but I found it interesting that he's like, well, you're a survivor and you're being hunted, so you have to get out. And they did a really good job of making sure that every little bit of my voice, even down to the sighs and breaths, are going to be fusing with you. And it's like, okay, dude, thanks for explaining Dead by Daylight to me.
Yeah, he seemed very into. He's like, what I love about the game is you have to match your movements with the inputs, and like then I'm like, bro, are you explaining video games to me right now? It was yes. Love. Matt says in the chat, loved hearing him talk about timing grunts for his performance. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Lachlan, the impression is actually pretty accurate. It was a good Nicolas Cage impression, Logan. You did a good job.
Don't say that.
Next up, we got a Witcher season 3 trailer for Netflix.
I'm behind.
I don't watch TV really at all. And I don't play The Witcher, so this didn't do anything for me either.
See, I love the Witcher books. I've read pretty much all of the books. I haven't played any of the games. Every time I sit down, I get completely overwhelmed, dude. It's like it's that open world aspect. It's like, oh my god, I get the Griffin, I get to the first town, and then I'm like, that was a lot. We did a good job. That was good gaming. And then I'm like, I'm out, and I come back and I forget how to play, and I got to look up the controls and stuff. But I've watched the first season. I'm behind on the second season. I thought the third season wasn't going to have Henry Cavill in it.
That's the fourth season.
Okay, so that's what was going on. So I will probably catch up at some point, but it was again really odd that, and I guess it's the support the game media being in TV shows for the sake of like making sure that this content stays relevant, so we don't lose the ability to have video games kind of move over to that medium. But yeah, it was a little breath. It was like we knew something was, there were going to be a couple breaks, so we had a few promos shots in there, and this kind of felt like that moment.
Yeah, we had some ad breaks and paying for this was a pay for the show type moment. And
Definitely. Yeah.
Next up, Evolve PR. Shout out Evolve PR. You're good to us over here, but you leaked this announcement a few hours before the show to me. Witchfire is going to early access September 20th. This game looks interesting, not one I'm like super dying to play, but I do think it looks like an interesting take on a first person shooter. So if you're
Yeah.
interested, PC early access, I think it's Epic Game Store only too.
Yeah, interesting. I'll keep an eye on it, but it's kind of low on the totem pole for me.
Next up, Crossfire Sierra Squad trailer for PSVR 2 coming August 2023. We saw this at the PlayStation Showcase a few weeks ago. Anything Crossfire related, I am avoiding like the plague.
Yeah, it was a weird ad too. Like, and it's funny because they almost sold me. They almost got me. Like, I was looking, I was like, oh yeah, pick up the gun. Oh yeah, I can just change the bullets. Oh yeah, that's a cool VR. Oh yeah, he's running around. And then it was like Crossfire Sierra Squad, and I was like, no, how dare you? That's dirty. Don't do that to me.
Yeah, you just delisted a game off off of the store, and you're trying to sell a new one.
Yeah.
Bold strategy. But next, Remnant 2 trailer, and this is coming July 25th. Now, I'm not a Remnant guy, so the first game, didn't play it. The trailer looked interesting. It's from my understanding, it's a Souls game, but instead of it's like a third person shooter almost.
It's, I would compare it personally. I'd compare it more to like a Gears game.
Okay.
In play style, less Souls, more Gears, but definitely like, with Gears, you got to dodge away from stuff. You got to run around and kind of coordinate with your teammates to kind of draw aggro and stuff like that. But Remnant, really good game, really fantastic game, good world that they did in. The second one I think is going to be a really, really big game for that studio, and I'm glad that they're doing right by Revenant. But this was a weird kind of like toss in. Like, it felt like
I
they
thought it was
didn't
an
really.
ad. Like it was
Yeah,
during the ad break.
yeah. It's like they didn't really give a whole lot to it in that time. It was kind of a shame because I think it'll be a really good game.
Yeah, it was a very interesting slot because I think they showed like a PC monitor ad right before it, and then they were like, "Here's Remnant 2's release date trailer," and I'm like,
Yeah.
that was very strange. But the next game, one of my games of the show that I'm super interested in, a new 2D Sonic game has been announced. It is called Sonic Superstars, coming to all platforms fall 2023. This trailer was awesome. The art style is gorgeous. They had him running like the original Sonic Genesis looking, and then he becomes more colorful and switches art style. Absolutely beautiful. It is full co-op. You can play Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy. Wish my boy Shadow was there, but man, this trailer, and it has some cool features too. Like at one point, he kind of ran on the back wall, and it was like we're going
Yeah.
into a different perspective. There was like a 3D part at one point. You got the bonus levels. This game looks so good. I absolutely cannot wait for this game.
Where is Sega been with not making these like the mainstay for Sonic games for forever? They keep pumping out all these Sonic games and they're all subpar. You've got especially like I'm looking at you, Frontiers. You're weird. Like, I'm glad that you exist, but bro, like like just make a Sonic. Like, Sonic Mania is by far one of the best Sonic games that's ever been made, and it was made because of fans that were fans of the originals. So I'm looking at Sonic Superstars and I'm like, guys, it was right there the whole time. Like, just take it, make it 3D. And it goes back to the Prince of Persia thing. It's like, man, just take what works, take what people love, take the gameplay, keep that, and then just do a nice new art style with it. Like, we have so many cool games that are coming out that are like 2.5D and they've got 3D side scroller games. It's like, why wasn't this a thing sooner? Like, this is going to sell really, really well. This is going to do really, really well. And the fact that they've got what looks to be 4-player co-op with the main 4, it looks like it's going to be a real fun game to kind of play around with. And I'm glad that you called out the half pipe a point where it's like, you kind of go onto the half pipe, but the half pipe is a 3D dip into that kind of like, I don't even know what axis you'd call it, like the Z axis or something, but it was really cool. I was like, oh, that's going to be a nice little mechanic that you get to play around with. I hope they use that for some of the boss fights.
Yeah, it was really awesome, and the chat here is loving the game as well. We got some Eric saying it looked very new Super Mario Bros. Wii vibes. Luke obviously feeling it. Sam in the chat says he wants to switch between the art styles. That would be a cool feature.
Ooh.
Man, this game definitely one of my games of the show. I'm super excited for this. I would love to play it co-op with people, especially if it is that 4-player co-op where you could have an absolute blast. I think you all just running around in this world. Just man, I love the resurgence that Sonic is having because I know Luke just recently played through a bunch of the Sonic games. I've long been a Sonic supporter. I've long been a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog. All right, I grew up on Sonic the Hedgehog. We had some dark years, okay, where Sonic, all right, dark years. But we've had a good Sonic Forces, not great, but like things like Sonic Colors is good. I actually want to play Frontiers. I'm waiting for like a $20 price tag on it, which it
Mm.
hasn't quite hit digitally yet. I know physically it's hit that quite a few times, but I'm waiting for that digital so I can jump in and play that because I think that game looks really good and I've heard good things about it. So, man, I'm on the Sonic train. Let's get Sonic. Let's get Shadow back. Let's go. I'm in Sonic the Hedgehog. And Matt Valdez. It's no Clive and Wrench. I platinumed Clive and Wrench. Just saying. Great game. Great 3D platformer. Next up, Honkai Star Rail. They showed off some new characters, and it's coming to PlayStation 5, Q4 2023. This is Hoyo versus next game after Genshin Impact, which I've promised my brother, who's a big Genshin Impact guy, and he loves Honkai Star Rail, that I would play it when it came to PS5 because it is a turn-based JRPG. So I think the game looks good. Just don't try to steal all my money with gacha mechanics.
That's the way it's got to go, man. That's just it's gonna be built in there at some point. You saw those characters; they're gonna need hats. They're gonna need sweaters. You're gonna have to buy like cards to get them more powered up, I'm sure.
Well, keep an eye out for that Q4 2023. Next up, this also leaked, unfortunately, this morning, thanks to PlayStation Store. But Lies of P coming September 19th, 2023. We got a new trailer and a demo is available right now on Xbox and PlayStation. I'm not a Souls guy. I think Lies of P looks visually good. I think the Pinocchio story is really cool to see that, but not a game for me, Logan.
Yeah. No, I won't play it, but man, I'll watch people play it because it looks beautiful. I love they've done a really, really good job with the art style. I don't know how well that September 19th date's gonna do for them though, because that's you're falling in between a Starfield and a Spider-Man 2, and that's a bad place to be right now.
It's a few weeks after Starfield. It is day one Game Pass as well, so they're already getting their bag
It's
from
true.
Xbox to throw it on there. So I don't really think they care all that much about that. But in terms of sales over on PlayStation, I'm sure it'll do just fine because it has the Bloodborne crowd over there is probably going to pick it up. Same day as Mortal Kombat, Eric says. Oof,
Yep.
that's a
Now,
rough one.
what I will say is that the fact that this is coming out like day one Game Pass, and it is effectively like the Souls game for this year, as far as I'm concerned. I know we had like what was it, Wulong earlier this year, that was also on Game Pass. I think Liza P is going to fall a lot more in line with what Dark Souls and Bloodborne fans enjoy, and I think that Liza P, even though it is going to be coming out same day as Mortal Kombat, I think that this will be an amazing get for Game Pass, to be able to have something to tide over the folks that are still hungering for more like Elden Ring DLC and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't coming this year. Everyone,
Nope.
you're kidding yourself if you think Elden Ring DLC is coming this year. Also not coming this year, Akira Toriyama's new game called Sandland. I love Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Akira Toriyama, I like his art style all kind of looks the same. Let's be honest. All right. He's not a great artist. Okay. Dragon Quest looks like Dragon Balls. It all looks the same. It all blends together.
Yeah.
Um, this trailer didn't really do much for me. It looked like a pretty generic action JRPG just with Akira Toriyama characters.
I think a lot of it is going to come down to the story that you get revealed in trailers down the line. Because I'm right now, this is kind of like the first reveal, so I think this is just to get people like, hey, if you love his style, if you love his character sheets and stuff like that, then you're you're really going to want to keep an eye on this. And I think it really will come down to like, okay, well, what's the gameplay loop? How does that feel? What's the story behind it, and is that going to keep me invested? Because yeah, I don't think having art, it's like the Nino Kuni stuff. Like I love the
Mhm.
Nino Kuni style. It's studio, is it Ghibli or Ghibli? I can never remember.
I say Ghibli.
Okay, we'll call it Ghibli, and we can decide on that later on. But like having that art style is really interesting to keep me like get me to look into like the Nino Kuni games. But at the end of the day, like if the gameplay is not there, then I'm not gonna play those games because it's just not something that's fun.
Yo, I have set off the chat about Akira Toriyama when I said he's not a great artist. They're coming for me, Logan.
Look, guys, I appreciate the passion. The passion is validated. Uh, but
I retract the statement. He's a great artist. I love that everyone looks like Goku and Vegeta. I love it.
I don't think the art style is that great, but it is definitely unique. And I think that they've done a lot with the character designs, with the story that people love. I think a lot of people really love the characters, and the story, and the art is just the art.
I love that the Luminary in Dragon Quest XI is Trunks. All right, I get it. Okay, moving on. Next one, we can rapid fire some of these. I think we got an Annapurna showcase on the 29th. Throne and Liberty, a free to play PvPvE game coming from Amazon, was announced. Warhaven from Nexon, also a free to play game coming. And Party Animals, September 20th, day one Game Pass, all announced. I don't care about those free to play games. Amazon Games has not put out a game I care about publishing wise. I've tried a few of them and they're all not great, in my opinion.
Interesting.
But Party Animals finally has a release date, which, if you like those ragdoll fighting games like Gang Beast, this one's for you. Annapurna, I'm sure we'll have some good games.
Yeah, Annapurna knows what to do with games, and they publish some fantastic stuff. None of this really felt compelling compared to like what else we got, and this was kind of a low point for me in the show.
Yeah, yeah. We had a few lulls throughout the show for sure. But they picked it right back up because Sam Lake joined to discuss Alan Wake 2. We got a gameplay trailer. He revealed that the game will be a 50-50 split. You will play as Alan or the new character Saga, who comes to investigate ritual murders. You're free to switch between the characters as well.
Yeah, that was. So I have no reverence for Alan Wake. I hadn't played the first one, so I have no clue like how good it is or how bad it is. This one being like a dead dyed in the wool a horror game is kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to jump into that. I have questions about having a flashlight on your chest, but when you pick up the flashlight and shine it really bright in the eyes of the ghost, then it makes a difference. But
Hmm.
I'm gonna look past that. Glad that this has got some time to talk about it, like the characters and stuff, because I think there was a lot of questions after the PlayStation showcase with the reveal, like, were we going to have a new character? How is that going to play out? And it's interesting that they're going this route, and it'll be cool to kind of see like how people outside of Alan himself have to deal or comprehend like what's going on with these with the story that's being written.
Yeah, so I love the original Alan Wake. I played the remaster just last year in January. Still holds up very well, in my opinion. So Alan Wake 2 is actually one of my most anticipated games this year.
Mm,
I
nice.
think the trailers look absolutely gorgeous. I'm not a survival horror game either. That is not the type of games I play. I don't play the Resident Evil games. I've I played Dead Space on easy this year for the very first time ever. Like, this is not something for me, but this game looks stunning. I cannot wait to play Alan Wake 2. This is a day one for me. I love the fact that they're like introducing new like switch between the character style, because that's going to be really really interesting. I especially because they said you could do it like kind of freely. You can choose to keep playing as Alan, you can choose to play Saga. So I'm super excited. I can't wait for this game.
That's
um
awesome.
yeah, and I know people in the chat, it is digital only, unfortunately, for anyone listening. They have not announced a physical version of the game. They said it's to keep costs down, which I think is a bunch of nonsense. Personally, your Epic Games publishing the game, you can afford it.
They're given a budget, man, and testament to that, like, you know, the digital version is going to be cheaper than like what most people are paying for games right now. Like they're saying, like, hey, we're not printing discs, so we don't have to make up the costs there. So we're just going to sell it cheaper.
Ooh, we haven't talked about this yet, but Eric points out a good thing. Super close to Spider-Man as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Oh
talk about
yeah.
that.
No, I that was the other thing that I noticed too is October 17th. That's like you don't want to be between Starfield and Spider-Man 2 right now. Like I'm very sorry for all these games.
Ooh. Next up, we got a co-op campaign trailer for Warhammer Space Marine 2, still releasing this winter. I think the game looks visually very good. Like gameplay, it looks like a almost a Gears of War style game. I'm not familiar with Space Marine and I've barely touched any Warhammer style game.
Mm.
But I thought this trailer showed really well.
Space Marine 1 is a fantastic game. It's a game that you don't have a jump, but you're in a big mech piece of you're in such heavy armor that you have jetpacks to get you up to things. The fact that they're going co-op on this with 3 players is a huge deviation from the first game, because realistically, like Space Marine 1, you are just like tromping around, like just murking orcs and stuff. And the fact that they're allowing you to play like 3 players, oh my gosh, my alarm. The fact that they're allowing you to play 3 players is awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing like how that's going to be, if they're going to do local or not. Be very, very cool. But love Space Hammer 1 or Space Marines 1. Really, and I even went back recently, still holds up, very fun, very, very much like a 360 Gears style kind of game. So if you love like old school Gears, like if you didn't play Space Marine, you can still pick it up on digital. Like go play that game, man, because it is a fun game.
Dope. Yeah, it looks interesting to me. That's one I'll add to the backlog wish list for sure. Next, we got Yes Your Grace Snowfall trailer coming out 2024. The didn't do anything for me. I'm not familiar with the series. I'm sure this is for someone. It's a pixel style indie game, but I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, very stylized pixels, but very beautiful. Like they did a really nice job. Really curious to see like how the whole like choice system works out, because it looked like you get to make the choices, and that can lead to you know prosperity or ruin for your kingdom. So it was a very interesting take. But yeah, it was interesting to see that come in after Space Marine 2.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have a game coming from John Carpenter. Big fan, John. Love your work. Coming from Focus and Saber is Toxic Commando, an FPS zombie game slated for 2024 for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. As much as I love John Carpenter's horror movies, this game looks incredibly generic in terms of the zombie shooting. I feel like I've played this game 1,000 times already. I
What are
gotta
you talking
say.
about? We haven't had these kind of games that much. Like there's like who goes hunting zombies with 4 players and vehicles and stuff in year of our Lord 2023? That doesn't happen.
This is the Left 4 Dead style game we've all been waiting for, just like Back 4 Blood. All right, like this is
Yeah.
this year's version of that, in my opinion. So
You know what? This reminds me of like the old Fossils kind of, and I'm speaking to you geriatric group out there. You know who you are. You want the golden age of like 80s action films. Like you want that like gruff macho men going around punching zombies in the face, and And like if it's Aliens 2 or just Aliens, then yeah, I'm looking at you, Clint. Yeah, you guys, this is your game. Enjoy it. But I'm going to tell you that there are going to be fewer and fewer of these games as time goes on. So you got your Toxic Commandos. You're going to enjoy it, but don't expect too many of these things.
Now it's your turn to turn for the chat to turn on you.
That's fine. I'll take it. You guys can hate me if you want, but no, yeah, this is it looks mid, but and you can tell because you don't like, there are other games that we're going to talk about that live and breathe off of the name of the title of the game, not the creator's name. Mr. Carpenter, I appreciate that you're attached to this, but you are selling this game. It is not selling itself.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, it's true. Next up, Baldur's Gate 3 new character reveal trailer coming out August 31st. For PlayStation 5 as of right now. They're still working on the Xbox version, but I'm not a Baldur's Gate guy, not a D&D style guy, so
No, same.
I think next one is probably one of the biggest announcements that we got here, and that is Spider-Man 2, which we learned a few things. We learned that the Venom in the game is not Eddie Brock, which I think is I've all right, guys. Here's the thing. I haven't played Spider-Man 2018. I haven't played Miles Morales. My brother loves them. He platinum both of them. Okay, it's just I don't know. I'm not a huge. I like Spider-Man. I'm not huge into Spider-Man. I'm more excited for Wolverine. Not having Venom be Eddie Brock, weird choice. Weird choice for me. But game's coming out October 20th, which is later than I thought it was going to be. I said September 8th. I thought it was going to go head to head with
yeah, me too.
Starfield, but October 20th, they're getting a little room in there. Obviously, this is going to be the big PlayStation game for the fall. I'm just very confused why this wasn't announced 2 weeks ago at the PlayStation showcase.
So when they finalize the PlayStation showcase, that has to be done at least a couple months before like that actually goes live, because there's a lot of other like things that go involved with that kind of stuff. Like anyone that's doing the Xbox showcase, their trailers and that news has been like locked for the last couple months for sure. So I could see like, beginning of the year, they knew they had to get Spider-Man 2 out, but they might not have had a date locked in. And then because of the timing, they knew that they wanted to. And by the time that they had committed to Summer Games Fest, they probably knew like, okay, let's go ahead and we'll give the big trailer for the PlayStation showcase, and then we'll give Jeff the date. And that way they can kind of like, they can live in both worlds. So you're not forgetting about Spider-Man 2. But yeah, the whole Venom not being Eddie Brock, I'm pretty sure we all know who it's going to be if you've played through them. I'm not going to spoil that because I think a lot of folks may not have had the opportunity and may be just getting into it because of the PC versions. So if you haven't played through those, then definitely do so. Play through them, get through the story and stuff so you can see who the potential will be. But I'm with you. Like, it not being Eddie is kind of a bummer, but they haven't set up Eddie at all in the prior games. So I mean, they kind of have, but I don't blame them because he hasn't been like a main character, like a big antagonist to Peter. So I'm okay with this if they do it justice. But it is a weird story point that they're like, it's not Eddie Brock. Wouldn't you like to know who?
Yeah, I wonder who it is. I wonder. Apparently, the chat knows who it is, so that's all that matters. Enjoy Spider-Man though. The collector's edition looks dope if you can afford $200+ for that, but not for me. Not for me. Not gonna drop that. Next, we got Pal World second trailer. This is the open world survival crafting game, early access in 2024. This is the second time we've seen this game. We saw it at the Tokyo Game Show last year, if I believe.
Yeah.
And it's Pokemon if Pokemon had assault rifles. That's the best way to describe this game. I don't really have much more than that.
I hope there's some 16-year-olds out there looking forward to this because they got you covered.
Next, we got a Black Desert trailer and a trailer for Lord of the Rings Return to Moria in fall 2023. This is apparently a survival Lord of the Rings game where you play as the dwarfs.
Does it feel Deep Rock Galactic to you?
I got that sense when
Okay,
the trail. I thought it was Deep Rock
good.
Galactic at first, and then someone told me it was Lord of the Rings, and I was like, oh, I just heard dwarfs and they were like mining stuff, so I just assumed it was Deep Rock. And it was
I
also in another ad break. This wasn't like a
yes.
nobody cared about it type thing.
Yeah, stop stuffing stuff next to Samsung promos because I can't tell.
Next up, we got a Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. It's the mobile game. It's the story of Final Fantasy VII just on mobile. Great.
Glad they're doing it.
Next game, I'm actually really interested in this one. Banishers Ghost of New Eden. We got a new trailer. Actually showed some gameplay in this one. This is the newest game from Don't Nod. Still dated for end of 2023. Looks really interesting. It's one of those third person over the shoulder type games. I'm super in. I was super in on just the reveal trailer at the Game Awards last year. I'm excited. I really hope it hits that 2023 release date. But if they have to slip it to 2024, I understand. All right. You're saying end of 2023. It's like you're kind of squeezing in under the wire there. But really impressed with what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones that it's going to kind of sneak up on people. I hope it's one of those ones that they can get for Game Pass. I don't think so, but I think it would probably do really well because it looks interesting. It looks surprisingly intriguing. I love ghosts, so I'm down to check it out. And you know, if they can hit that 2023, cool. Because I think at the end of 2023 is going to be kind of light, and that'd be a good spot for something like that.
Except for Hellblade. That's my prediction, bro. I'm sticking by it.
All right.
This was the Kevin block because next we got a trailer for Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Also leaked this morning, unfortunately. Thank you, PlayStation Store. Again, I don't know why you can't just wait a few hours. Trailer came out. Kiryu's back. This is going to show the in-between events after 6 and to where he is now. Coming out November 9th. Rumored to be a shorter game, like 12-ish hours, going back to the traditional brawler style combat. So I'm in on this game. I love the Yakuza Like a Dragon series, whatever you want to call it. I'm in on these games going forward.
Look good. Look fantastic. Surprised we got a date, and I looks awesome. I'm so glad that they're going this route because this game looks good.
Then we got Under the Waves, August 29th. Cute little indie game about exploring the depths of the sea. Didn't do much for me.
No.
Call of Duty Warzone got a new season trailer. Cool.
More stuff.
Maybe the weirdest announcement, Porsche, however you want to say it, is making a custom Xbox. Why?
Yeah. Where did this come from? This feels like this should have been tied to like motorsport. And they're just like, we got to give Jeff something for Games Fest. Like, what can we give him? And they're like, give him the custom Xbox. It's been 75 years from Porsche. We'll do a full deep dive on motorsport coming out later this month. So just give them.
The Xbox is ugly too.
Wow.
I think it's ugly.
Oh,
it's just like
that's a slam, man. I feel
sorry.
bad.
It's ugly. It's an ugly console.
That's a shame. I actually thought it was pretty. It's not my bag, but I thought it was pretty.
Ooh, Matt in the chat. They should have pumped the brakes on that console.
Wow, the shade. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to be in the minority there. I know Ames will back me up on this over at Season Gaming. Like he'll 100%. Like you guys. Wow, man. Okay. I thought it looked cute. I thought it was adorable. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to enter into that. And I don't care that it exists, but it's cute. I'm glad that they did it.
Logan's going to go out his way to get one now.
No way. Get that out. I don't need it. I got 2 already. I don't need a 3rd one.
Oh, wow. Next up, Lockleth. She left, but she wanted to talk about Fae Farm. It's coming for Switch and PC September 8th. This is one of those animal style games.
Animal style.
Animal Crossing style. Okay, sorry, animal style. Yeah, animal style.
Calling out the furries already, man. I wasn't expecting that.
My
hide your
stance,
kids, hide your fursuit.
My stance on these games is why would I want to do chores in video games? But I understand there's a market for this. Okay, I understand people like to do this. It's not me. It's not.
Okay. There is something relaxing and peaceful with these games. These are the games that, like, for me, it's running around smashing goblins' faces in like Diablo 4 or something. You know, for other people, it's feng shui in organizing their house. It's about collecting outfits. It's about, you know, it's being able to feel a small sense of accomplishment in something that doesn't matter, and just getting that little dopamine hit. That's what these games are great at. It's like you plant seeds and the seeds grow, and you didn't kill the plant because it's a video game, as opposed to me killing, you know, herbs in my window and it doesn't last. You know, I don't get that satisfaction, but I can get that satisfaction out of Fae Farm. They are doing what Animal Crossing isn't. They're building games with expanded tools like Stardew Valley, but with good graphics. And I'm glad that it exists because, you know, someone's got to do it. Like Disney Dreamlight's getting away with murder right now with the amount of money that they're charging in their game, but the game is fantastic. It does all the things that I'd want out of Animal Crossing that Animal Crossing isn't doing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what Animal Crossing is doing because I never played it.
Nothing. It's doing nothing. It's squandering its goodwill.
They're like, oh, we sold 40 million copies. I was like, oh, okay. To who? Who's playing this game? I don't get it.
Oh, man.
Get it. Cool. If you like those style games. It's on the right platform for it. All right.
So
Switch
dismissive.
Right. I don't know what else. It looks. It's like when people are like, "Oh, I love Stardew Valley." I'm like, "You're like growing." You know what? You know when I last liked a game like this was Farmville, that Facebook game that we used to all play. Right? I used to check out my crops. It's literally
that's what this is. It's Farmville, but you know, not like stealing your data. It's great. It's exactly what you loved about Farmville, but you don't have Mark Zuckerberg looking over your profile like, oh yeah, that's gonna get me millions when I sell this to the advertisers. What he sounds like, by the way.
Marvel Snap getting a new update. Cool. I played Marvel Snap for a little bit, but I've fallen off it. And then we got King Arthur Legends Rise. I'm not quite sure what this is. Who's it for? What early access trailer for Wayfinder? This was the worst part of the showcase, by the way. Like this whole section of this was a lull. Stellaris Nexus is a 4X space strategy game that's coming. I'm sure someone out there is interested. We got a trailer for Star Trek Infinite, which I know Luke likes Star Trek, and quite a few people in the XCP community like Star Trek, but I've never really vibed with it. And I don't know what the game is.
I don't know what the game is either. It's coming out June 16th for like to be able to check into it and stuff. It's got Borg. I like Borg.
What am I doing in it though?
I have no idea. It's like cool. All right. Let's more next time. Love you.
Well, maybe the worst thing shown here today, and I say that with a lot of the Twisted Metal trailer.
God,
this was god awful.
I'm pretty sure I cringed during this because I just
was this supposed to be funny? Like,
I think it was supposed to be funny. I think Will Arnett still thinks he's funny, and it's strange because he's not funny.
Whoa.
No, he is not funny.
Arrested Development is a gem of a show.
All right. Okay. I can't judge it because I didn't watch it, but I've seen plenty of Will Arnett. And the last time I saw him do anything that was, no, it's Will Arnett. He's doing the voice. He's not even doing the character. They've got, I think it's Samoa Joe.
Yes, Samoa Joe is the body.
Like, just use Samoa Joe. Like, why has it got to be Will Arnett? Like, what does he bring to this that we haven't heard from any other role he's ever done? And the fact that, I can't. It's no.
The trailers they put out for this game don't seem to
It's
have
not
an
even a game. That's the
understanding.
worst part.
Sorry, yeah, the TV show, the trailers they put out for this TV show. Sorry, they don't seem to understand what Twisted Metal is. They don't understand the tone of Twisted Metal. David Jaffe's rolling in his very much alive grave. That's all I'm saying.
You know what was really odd about this was that it was in the middle of a scene to showcase Sweet Tooth, and there was something obviously going on between the main character and Sweet Tooth, and there's no context to the scene, so it's like there's no discussion around like what's going on or like propping it up. So we just get thrown into the scene, and then we have to sit there and awkwardly sit through watching them like sing a song in the middle of this abandoned casino with one guy's face slammed up against a slot machine. I'm like, this does nothing for me. This does not tell me anything about the whole point of the series or why it exists, other than congratulations, you got some big actors in it, and decided to go with Will Arnett for reasons.
Tonally, it's not incredibly far off, says Sam, but at least a bit of vehicle combat would have reassured people, I think. If that's the tone they're going for, I'm not quite sure. Like, I thought it was supposed to be funny, and it wasn't. It wasn't funny.
You know who would have done a fantastic Twisted Metal show is, and I'm blanking on his name, but the guy that does Mad Max and did Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, for sure.
I can't think of it.
I don't remember his name either.
For some reason, George Romero is coming to mind, but I know that's not his. He does the zombie movies. But anyway, like get the dude that did Mad Max Fury Road, because like he knows how to shoot like car combat. George Miller, there it is. Spam and chat got it.
Okay. Yeah, I have Peacock. All right, I'm a Peacock supporter. All right, but I'm not gonna watch this show. I can't physically. Maybe I'll watch one episode, but like I can't bring myself to do it. Next, we got a trailer for Lisfanga, Time Shift Warrior, coming 2023.
You sound excited.
I can't like this. I don't know what they're doing. The next game I am excited for. I'm gonna wait to get it, but Immortals of Avium, we got another gameplay trailer. This is like the 4th or 5th time, something like that. We've seen this game numerous times at this point. I think it looks really good. I am excited to play this. Like when I finally get to play this game, I know I will have a good time with it. I think it looked really good. The gameplay looks a lot of fun. It looks like one of those games where I can just shut my brain off and just have a good time, just like murdering people. Like that's how Doom is for me. This looks very much like a Magic Doom style game.
It does. Is it weird to feel like I think this is going to be a mid game? Because
I think a lot of people are feeling that, unfortunately.
I think it's really interesting. I think it's definitely a game, but I'm getting some real Outrider mid game vibes from this, and I don't know.
Outriders.
No, and see, that's the thing is, it's like Outriders was great. I think they did a good job with it, but it was just it's just a video game. Like it doesn't do anything outside of that I haven't seen with other stuff. So I'm just like, I don't know. It looks like a generic magic fantasy world, and it's doing Doom things. And I'm willing to be wrong on this. I hope I'm wrong about this, but everything that I've seen so far just makes me feel like it's kind of mid, and I'm bummed about that.
I think this is a title that we would have gotten like in the mid 2000, like early 2000s. It gives me that kind of energy. You know what I'm talking about? Where you just had games that came out and they knew that they're like, this isn't going to be a franchise. This isn't going to be like a must play game. It's just going to be a fun video game. And this gives me those kind of vibes where like, if this comes in at a 7, that's exactly where I expect it to come in. I don't expect this to like have an amazing story. I think like it's just going to be a fun time for me, I think.
Yep,
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it feels double A, and I think that's where it's living in that place. If they come in at like 20 hours for the campaign, like perfect. Let them live in that world.
Last two things. We got a Fortnite trailer for Fortnite Wilds. You get to play as Optimus Prime, where big Optimus Prime was like, I'm too big to be in Fortnite. I'm gonna make a little baby Optimus Prime that the character could play as. I like Transformers. I wish it was old school Optimus Prime instead of like Michael Bay Optimus Prime, but like it's all good. It's all good.
That's just Optimus now, man. Like that's
Yeah.
who he. Oh man, I was watching because I've been seeing the advertisements for the Rise of Prime, I think is what it's called. I can't think of what the new one's called.
Yeah. Rise of the
Rise of the
Beasts, I think.
Beasts. Yeah, where they're getting the oh man. And I showed my wife that cartoon back in the day and how bad that was. But I was there's something about Optimus Prime. He is just like the perfect hero, the perfect leader to me. And like having him kind of come to Fortnite, it's super weird because the whole vibe of the Wild season feels closer to Jurassic Park
Did have a vibe.
than it did like Transformers. So I was really confused by that. But it looks like you get to ride raptors. It looks like you get to slide on vines. It looks like you get to buy Transformer skins. I'll be very curious, like where else they go with that. If they, here's what they'll get me if they get this. If they have a Starscream glider,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
a back bling is Soundwave with the little cassette, the little boombox guy. If they get that, the Gen 1s, they're going to get a lot of money from those, because I guarantee you there's going to be some old folks out there like myself who are going to get sucked in and want that Starscream glider and that Soundwave back bling.
I want a new Transformers game. I want a new
Yeah.
Transformers.
I'm going to
I played Battlegrounds when it came to Game Pass
yeah.
last year, and that was it's like a strategy game, like a turn-based like Fire Emblem type game, and it didn't get great reviews. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was nice to like be in the Transformers universe again and like have those characters, but I would like a Transformer, like a good Transformers game.
Was War of Cybertron good? Because that's the one that I always
That's the one
think
everyone
about.
talks about. That's the one everyone
That's
always brings up as being good.
Yeah, like that's I want one of those. Like there's a PSVR 2 cyber Transformers game that just got brought over from the PSVR 1 days. And I'm like this close to picking that up because I want something Transformers that bad. But man, I would love to have some Gen 1 stuff come to Fortnite, because that would sell so well if they do that.
Finally, Logan, closing out the show, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer. I know you're not the JRPG guy, but I gotta tell you, this looks phenomenal. Visually stunning. This game is gorgeous. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I've been anticipating the Final Fantasy 7 remake, like the next part of it, ever since I played the first one, because so like you have the original story. For anyone that doesn't know, you have the original story of Final Fantasy VII, and then remake. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's just going to be like retelling the same game," and it's not. They changed things. Like the whole timeline is different. So Rebirth is not going to be a one-to-one like this is Final Fantasy VII. I'm excited to see what changed between Rebirth and the original timeline and the original story, and I just love everything they're showing here. It looks gorgeous. Early 2024. So shout out. I know Sam is in the chat. No Limits crew here at Save the Game Media for our Fantasy Critic League. You can suck it. Take your 0. I told you that game wasn't coming out, and I told you Factions wasn't coming out. You all doubted me, and I'm 2 for 2, baby.
I'm so glad that this is got its reveal. I know nothing about Final Fantasy VII except for the spoiler, which I found out like a couple years ago, and I haven't played remake. I have no interest in jumping into it at any time soon. But they're putting it out on 2 discs apparently, and
Yeah, I saw that.
that was in a world where Alan Wake 2 is going digital only to save money. They're like, no, we're doubling down on the physical, and you're gonna buy 2 discs and you're gonna like it. I'm glad that they're doing this for folks because I know there's some big fans out there, and if this gets your goat, and this was your big one more thing at the end of the show, that was a heck of a thing to toss
Hmm.
on the end there.
Yeah, it was a fantastic way to close the show out for me, for a lot of people. I know quite a few people on Twitter were very excited about this reveal, and I'm probably gonna watch it a few more times before I go to bed just to feel something, you know. Uh, it's true. I watched the reveal trailer multiple times, like just listening to like who's talking, who's saying what, like trying to figure like the
Yeah,
Sephiroth monologue in here. Oh, swear you are doing something magical with Final
you got
Fantasy right now.
you got a red talking wolf. That's some pretty cool stuff.
He's a pretty cool guy. He's a pretty cool guy. All right, we can move into our last story. I know I'm keeping you a little long here, Logan, but we'll get through this. So, uh, fair warning: if you don't want to know a spoiler for the Xbox Game Showcase that someone leaked, the publisher leaked this themselves, you can click off now. Thank you for coming. Please drop a like, subscribe. We appreciate you for listening. If you don't care, because it is all over social media at this point, I'll give you 5 seconds. All right. Atlus has leaked its own games. So, Atlus West, ahead of the Xbox Game Showcase, has accidentally leaked two Persona games that would surely have been revealed this Sunday from the trailers. It looks clear that they were intended for the show. Posted on their official Instagram and since removed, Persona 3 Reload, the long rumored Persona 3 remake, has been confirmed for early 2024, and Persona 5 Tactica, a Persona 5 Tactics spin-off game, coming November 17th. Both titles are day one in Xbox Game Pass. Logan, I know you're not a JRPG guy, but I gotta tell you, man, this would have been a huge pop off for me when I'm live reacting on Sunday. If I didn't know about this, this would have been a scream, like jump out of my chair moment, like when I did when the Persona games come to Game Pass last time. This would have been that moment for me.
What is
Uh,
what is so exciting about this though? Like, what is it about a Persona game that makes it so interesting that this is why you're excited?
So Persona for me is really a culmination of everything I love about JRPGs, where you get some of the most fantastic and mature stories in JRPGs, like the main storylines, and then you also get in-depth character development analysis through those games. You have social bonding elements where you get to grow closer with those characters and really learn about them, like what made them the way they are. And that just enhances the experience for me. On top of that, you have fantastic turn-based combat where the system relies a lot on weaknesses. Like every enemy is weak to a certain thing. You can exploit that in certain ways to give yourself like additional moves, team combinations. I just think the game for me really does everything that I want from this series, or from this type of game. So that's why it's exciting for me. Persona 3 Portable came last year to Game Pass and it got re-released, and that's the old PSP game. And I tried playing it. I played about 2 hours of that game when it came to Game Pass, and man, it is a rough game. There's no cutscenes. The dungeon crawling is tedious, boring, plain. Like it was not a very good experience, despite me wanting to know the story. And I have experience with these characters through games like Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, the fighting game that they put out. So I'm familiar with the Persona 3
Mm,
cast a little bit, but I really want to dive more into them. So this game, from the looks of it, is like the Persona 5 engine. They basically just brought it from like those, from what a PSP game could be to what a modern JRPG should be. And that excites me that I'm going to be able to play probably the best version of Persona 3, now that I've waited for that. So
that's
super
cool.
excited for that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Persona 5 Tactica, people saw the other day that Atlus had trademarked and updated P5T. and it was like a website. And they do this a lot. They have a few things that like they've trademarked and updated, and nothing's ever come out. But this one, people were joking like, oh, it's going to be a fighting game. It's going to be, I saw Ryan Turford. He said, oh, it's going to be a tactics game. And I'm pretty sure he was half joking. Turns out it's going to be a tactics game. Little different here. It's more of the Persona Q art style where they're like chibis almost. It's not the actual like character looking. And it's a tactics spin-off game. I love tactics. I think Gears Tactics is the best Gears we've had since Gears 3. You can quote me on that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love Gears Tactics. So I'm big into tactical games. Adding the Persona 5 cast, which I've spent 87 hours with, platinumed. Oh, that was just in the Royal, and then I played Persona 5 Strikers for another 40 hours. So I've already invested over 100 hours with these characters. I just love them, love that world. I'm excited to go back for something different.
That's really cool. It's amazing. First off, it's a bummer that this didn't get shown off at the Xbox showcase, because so often and for a lot of people it still will be like, there's going to be a lot of folks that don't listen to podcasts, that don't trend on, or you look at trending stuff on Twitter and stuff. So this will still be really big for them. But the fact that the relationship with Atlus, who has historically been very, very tied to Sony, is continuing to support and develop for Xbox is fantastic news. It means that there's a good communication between that studio and what they're publishing and what's coming to Game Pass, and that's what Game Pass needs. Game Pass needs to support those types of games, because they're not as prolific, and there's a definite market there to be addressed. So I'm glad that this is something that is getting more love and attention, when it's easy to think like, well, they already put that stuff out there. There's no real reason to stay committed to it. Like, it'll be there for a year, which is like the typical for the bigger games, and then it'll be done and people can buy it if they want, but it's not like they're not beholden to Xbox for any reasons. But seeing this continued on, beautiful. Glad to see it.
Yeah, and I'm sure these games are going to come to the other platforms as well. It's obviously just the Xbox trailers for their showcase. I love that Xbox seems to have a really good relationship with Atlus and Sega now. If it was up to me, Xbox would try to buy Sega instead of Activision Blizzard. I think that's a better relationship. I think I like their games more, but that's just me being biased. Obviously, we could get Sonic. All right, everyone loves Sonic the Hedgehog. No, but it's great. The one thing I will say is that I know for a fact the Persona 5 Royal achievements, everyone on Xbox complained we don't get these games. Y'all need to actually play them. All right? I look at the achievement list, and it's like the percentage of players that get Arsene, the opening persona, in the first hour of the game is shockingly low. It was like 1% last time I saw. So you all complained we don't get JRPGs, and then you don't do any, you don't play them, and when you do, you don't play them long enough to actually do anything. So everyone's over there complaining. I know it's a different company, but Square Enix doesn't bring games to Xbox because you don't support them. All right. I've been on my high horse about this. If you want these types of games, you gotta support them. And I put my money where my mouth is. I download my Game Pass. I buy them on the Xbox console. So I want everyone else to do the same. That's all I'm asking.
To be fair, though, Atlus has historically been a very PlayStation-centric publisher. Like, if you want Atlus games, you probably own a PlayStation. So, like, they have a built-in player base there. The diehard Xbox fans who've just been living without them for so long is probably a fairly small number compared to what is typically released on Xbox, which I think is why Activision Blizzard makes so much more sense as an acquisition than it does for them to pick up like a Sega or another Japanese studio, because they haven't developed that culture for Game Pass. I think Atlus is a good get. Would I love to see Skies of Arcadia come back as a remake for Game Pass? Yeah, it'd be amazing. But that's just that's not where a lot of what Microsoft gamers or Xbox gamers tend to go for a lot of those games, unfortunately. And until you start bringing more and more and more, you start building up that expectation that the games will come there as well. You're going to see these low numbers, these low yields for stuff like that. Because I mean, let's be honest, a lot of these titles are fairly old, and if you haven't played them, chances are you're not going to.
That's fair. That's fair. And I think Eric in the chat makes a good point about anyone that launches it, it automatically adds the achievement percentage. I would say, like, if you launched it, why didn't you play it? You know, but that's just me. That's just me being a snob. Uh, I had another point to make, and it completely slipped my mind.
How,
I know.
yeah,
I'm hoping, as you said, that older games got brought, and that's maybe why people they had already played them on other platforms, perhaps, or they wanted to play them elsewhere. I'm hoping with these being two brand new games that maybe this is the time we see the Xbox community show up and support. Like, hey, they're not being walled off from us. We don't have to wait for these ones. Like, they're here day and date. Let's show up and support them.
yeah, yeah. And this definitely, and it part of the other problem that I think might be contributing to this too is that some of the some of the people that are out there talking about how they want Atlus games to be brought to Xbox are going to be ones that want to showcase those games. And with a lot of that, you're going to find like they're going to want to like stream the game. They're going to want to share that experience. And Atlus has been extremely limiting on what you can actually like show off for that. So unless you have like a capture card and stuff, as far as I know, you can't stream Persona 5 directly from the Xbox. It didn't let me when I went to go jump into it, and it didn't let me when on my PlayStation either.
They're known to block certain, like, especially cutscenes. I know often there was times where when I played it on PS5, it would give me that notification like streaming disabled for like large portions of the game. So
Yeah.
that's also fair. That's fair.
When when you restrict people from being able to have like a full experience of it, if you do something like that, it shows that you're not open to the experience of letting people play the game, experience the game through other people because maybe they can't, maybe that they're not sure that they want to. Just let players have that choice on their own without having to restrict them on that kind of thing. And I think that you tend to build a better community around your games and your IPs and stuff. It's no longer relegated to the elitists who sit alone and play it at home and don't, they talk about it reverently with others who may have, but you don't really get to share that experience with other people, so they don't see what's so awesome about this game because streaming is so restricted from the actual developer side of
Mhm.
things.
Yeah, no, and I know, like me, I'm a big proponent of them coming to Xbox, but that's because I've played them already. Like, I've played Persona 4 elsewhere, I played Persona 5 elsewhere. So when I was excited for the Xbox community to get them, I was more like, "Hey guys, look at these great games, go play them." And maybe other people have already played them elsewhere, like I have, and that lowers those older numbers. So I'm really hoping these new ones are the ones that we see some success with, and let's show out for them. I'm excited for them, obviously, and I know plenty of other people are excited for them. So this is sucks they leaked their own games. I'm sure that social media manager is getting a stern talking to, but
Yeah, go easy on them. It's a busy time right now.
it, these things happen, unfortunately.
It wasn't Walmart Canada this time.
Oh my god. Walmart, what are you doing? All right. Well, that's all we got for this week's show, Logan. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. I know we
Yeah.
we went quite a while there. I hope you're okay with that. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, it was great. We had a long conversation about a lot of stuff. I was really surprised at how good the showcase was, even with the
Yes.
lulls. I think they did a much better job than the last couple of years, and I'm really glad to see that.
I think the second hour was slow for the most part, not much there for me. But I walked away with a handful of games, as I said: Sonic, Like a Dragon, Banishers, even more games that Prince of Persia. It's like I walked away with a handful of games that I'm interested, excited to pick up and play. So that's really all I can ask for from these showcases. Do I think it was like the most amazing showcase ever? No, but it's certainly better than some of the past Summer Game Fest. And I think I said I would give it like a B plus for Summer Game Fest types showcases. I think Jeff can do better. Still, I think Game Awards is still his bread and butter, but this was a good show. I had a good time, and then Atlus obviously making me very happy to end the day. But Logan, where can people find you if they want to hear more from you, my friend?
If you guys want to listen to my content, you showcased it really well at the beginning of the episode. But Keelhauled Podcast, if you're into Sea of Thieves, one of the pillar franchises for Xbox, in my opinion, they've done a great job supporting it over the 5 years. And I talk about it on a weekly podcast called Keelhauled. Other than that, if you want more Xbox content, come hang out with Luke Lore and myself as he does the Xbox expansion pass. And I sit around and just kind of like talk Xbox with him because that's a great place to do it.
Absolutely. Go check them out. I know we've had Luke on plenty of times. You guys know how I always speak highly of XEP. So go over there, check them out. And Keelhauled if you're into Sea of Thieves for sure. Which I'm not good at Sea of Thieves. I'm off. I always get murdered. Everyone steals my gold. Uh, you can find me at the Muffin Mon on Twitter. So 1 and 7, I and 0 and 7A. Follow us at Save Game Media. And until next week, we will see you. Goodbye.